Hello, 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 and welcome back. It's another episode of the Peak Signing Agents podcast. I'm your host, DVO, Derek Van Otten, and I'm helping you become the best notary, signing agent, business owner, professional that you can possibly be. And on this episode, I'm wearing purple. Purple is one of my favorite colors. But another beautiful thing is purple is made of two colors, red and blue. And we're talking about being professional when it comes to politics. In my opinion. This episode is purely based off my opinion. I think it's important that we all try to be purple. And it's okay if we lean one way or the other. I am registered as independent. And in the last decade or so, I have seen so much polarizing between people who choose a side. And that's okay if you choose a side. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. This is purely based off my opinion. But I will say this. The one great thing about me being purple, me being in the middle, and I don't have a horse in the race, I have voted Democrat, I have voted Republican. I just go purely off of what I feel and see. And off of the information that I'm given. And I am also open. I have my opinions, but I'm also open to new information and new opinions. And I am willing to change my mind. I hope some of you are also willing to be open and change your mind if needed. And I'm not getting into the weeds of politics. Because the beauty of being independent and the beauty of being purple and the beauty of saying I'm not true to blue and I'm not sticking with red no matter what. The beauty of being independent and being purple is that my eyes are open, my mind is open, but also I have seen lies from both parties, mind you. Neither one are saints. Neither party are saints, okay? I had an indirect mentor, and he would say, I met this one person, he's a politician, so you know he's a crook. And he just categorized every politician as crooks. And I was like, it's not a bad, maybe that's not bad to do that. But I don't do that. I just thought it was funny. But anyway, I want to talk about being professional and politics. I have heard stories of people, notaries, going in to homes and the signers ask, who are you voting for? And they feel uncomfortable. I have also been in those shoes where someone says, who are you voting for? And I'll just say, I'm not sure yet. I'm still watching the debates, feeling the energy of the candidates. And maybe, who knows, maybe I won't vote. I have also not voted. I have said I've voted blue and I have voted red. And I've also not voted because I didn't like either one. I personally, again, this is all my opinion, but I personally don't like the whole thought of the lesser of two evils. That's just not me. If I don't like either one, I'm not voting either one. Or I have voted for an independent person before as well. That's besides the point. The point is, I'm talking about being professional on this episode. Being professional in politics. I think it's fantastic if you feel strongly about something or a subject. I think that's great. I think that's great. What I don't like seeing is when people want to eliminate other people from their lives because they voted one way. Remember, these are just terms. These are time limits. This is 4 years. And who knows why they voted for who they voted for. They might have their reason. It might not be your reason. But there might be something that's important to that person. I don't judge. I will say this. I have voted for one party. My brother, who's been on this podcast, has voted for another party. And I knew he was voting for the other party. And come election day, I've said, hey, don't forget, if you haven't dropped in your ballot yet, to do it. And he was like, oh yeah, thanks for the reminder. I knew he was voting for the other person than I was voting for. But I think if something he felt a subject was very important to him. So if it's very important to him, then hey, cast your vote. But I don't judge anybody off of who they voted for. I don't put them in a box. Say, oh, because you voted for this person, you are now in this box. I don't do that. I just think there's probably a reason. And I would be open to discussing it. I'm open. I'm open to changing my mind. I wish most people were open to getting more information and possibly changing their mind. There's nothing wrong with changing your opinion, because our opinions are based off of the information we have been given. And if we receive new information, we might want to change our opinion. That's okay. That's being an adult. Adults have conversations and communications and can agree to disagree. Children are the ones who whine and scream and yell. We need to be adults and professionals. And if you go into someone's home and they have a sign in their yard that you disagree with, that's okay. You can have disagreements, but you can also still conduct yourself professionally. Now, again, you might be thinking, well, I can't be professional if they think this way. Hey, you don't know what they think. You don't know what a phrase means to somebody. There can be a phrase, and for one person it means one thing, and for another person that same phrase can mean a totally different thing. Let me give you an example. There was a story of twins. Their father, for most of their lives, was in and out of jail, locked up many times. And one of the twins, just like their father, was going in and out of jail, getting in trouble. Another twin went a different path and said, I am going to go to school. I'm going to get an education. I'm going to do something with my life. And when the twins were asked why one was in jail and one was succeeding in life, and they said, why did you make the choices that you made? And they both gave the same answer. So they had the same answer, okay? The one that was in jail saying, well, if you grew up in the household that I grew up in, you would know why. And the twin that was succeeding said, well, if you grew up in the same household that I grew up in, you would understand why. They had the same answer. It was perspective of each twin. One twin was basically being the victim and saying, well, I saw what my dad did, and I just did what my dad did, and now I'm in and out of jail. And the other twin said, I saw what my dad did, and I didn't want to have a life like that. I did the exact opposite. Same answers, different perspectives. We can all have that. We can see a phrase, we can see a sign and interpret it the way we want to interpret it. The wrong thing to do would be to stereotype or put in a box that person and say, nope, this is how they are no matter what. Adults understand, they communicate, they converse, they can agree to disagree, they can change their opinion, they can change their mind, they might get a new perspective. But it's important that we stay professional. If you go into a home, you see a sign in someone's yard that you don't agree with, that's okay. I'm sure some of my best friends have ideologies that I may disagree with. I just don't know them. I have 2 girls. I have decided I don't want to spank them. I just have my own beliefs in that. I used to think I was spanked as a child. Okay, I'll say that. As a child, I was spanked. All my friends were spanked as children. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I wasn't abused as a child. I was spanked when I did something wrong. I wasn't spanked for no reason. I knew I would be spanked if I did this, and I did it anyway, and I was spanked. All right? And growing up, I have no resentment to my parents for that. I don't. There were points in my life where I would say I'm maybe a better person because of it. And I didn't see anything wrong with spanking kids until I had 2 daughters. And I thought, well, me as a man, if I am angry with my child, that's a woman, I don't want to hit her, spank her, and let her think it's okay that if a man is angry with you, that it is okay for them to hit you. I didn't like that. I made the decision to never hit my children. My punishment was they did push-ups. That was my punishment. It's like, okay, you don't do what you're doing, you're going to be doing push-ups. I figured exercise would be good. And, because it hurts your arms, when you're doing lots of push-ups, but it also makes you strong. So I thought, I'll go that route. Am I right or wrong? I don't know. I'm not saying I am right or wrong. I'm just saying that was a decision I made. But I changed my opinion. I changed my mind. I used to think it was okay. Then I had girls and I thought, no, maybe not. Maybe I don't want to do this. And I've never hit my children. I have punished them. I've never hit them. And that's what adults do. They get new information and they can change their mind. What I want to say is don't put people in bubbles. Don't categorize them because they did one thing. Be an adult. Be professional. Unlike our government. Okay, our government are not grown-ups. They don't act in good behavior. Either party. I've seen both parties lie. I have seen a whole excerpt of something, and I've seen how one party will cut out certain parts and put a narrative behind it. Both parties, I've seen it. Okay? I've seen the whole thing, and I said, oh, you kind of picked and choose the parts of this speech you wanted to pick and categorize it and put a narrative behind it. I have seen both parties do that. So, no one's perfect. We all make mistakes. We all have our opinions. That's okay. If you go into a house and they make you feel uncomfortable, it's okay to professionally talk about it and say, I actually don't like talking about politics. I feel like it's too polarizing, or I've noticed that everyone shares the same opinion I have, and I just think it's better that we just focus on the paperwork. In fact, you can even just say, you know what, how about this? How about we just focus on the paperwork, and then maybe we can talk about that a little bit afterwards. And everyone will forget about it, and you don't have to talk about it, and you can just leave. Okay? You don't have to talk about it. I was at a closing the other day, and they were making statements about politics, and I just smiled. And they said, as you can probably tell, we feel this way. And I said, I totally understand. Because I can understand why people feel the way they feel. Whether I agree with them or not, I can understand why they feel the way they feel. And that's okay for them to have those feelings. I'm not there to have a discussion with them or change their mind. I didn't even care to change their mind. I was, okay, great. But it's important that we stay professional. If you go to someone's house and you see that they have a sign again in their yard, whether you and you don't agree with it, it doesn't matter. You can still be professional. Now, if they blatantly just have hate speech and just say, hey, we hate these individuals, and if you are one of these individuals, don't come knocking on our door. Well, and if you are one of those individuals, then maybe don't. Maybe say, hey, you know what? I don't feel safe. And that's okay too. If they are just blatantly saying, hey, if you are in one of these categories, don't come knocking on our door because we hate you. And I have never seen a sign like that. I'm just saying, if it was blatantly like that, I understand. But it's important that we stay professional. And it's okay that people disagree with us. We don't have to scream and shout and act like children. We should act like adults, unlike our government. And guess who's in our government? Both parties are in our government. Okay? Both parties are. And they all act like children at times, don't they? All right? Let's not be like them. Let's be better than them. And let's also remember this. My cousin, when I was reminding my brother to cast his vote, he said, because she said, why would you remind him of that when you're voting for this other person? And I said, you know what? Honestly, I'm the president. I'm the president, and my wife is the co-president of our household. Or maybe she's the president and I'm the vice president. Something on those lines. But I said, we make the decisions in our household of how our family runs. I have chosen to be a winner no matter what. No matter who's in the Oval Office, me and my family will win. And I want to end with that. It doesn't matter who's in the Oval Office because you are a winner. You and your family are going to win regardless. Don't be a victim. Don't act like the world is coming to an end because your party is not there, or don't act like you're greater than anyone else because the party you wanted won. No. You will win because you have chosen to win, because you have put the actions in place to win. Winning is a conscious decision and dedication and action that you have taken. You won on purpose. But if you are a victim, you are a loser on purpose because you decided to let someone victimize you. But you are not, right? You are a peak signing agent. You are a winner. You are a champion. And I believe in you. And I know you will win no matter what. So keep being awesome. I'll talk to you next episode.